Hey guys, Retro Gaming Maniac here, and in today's video we're going to be taking a look at the Exlene Wireless GameCube controller for the Nintendo Switch. Now this video is not sponsored, however they did send over this controller for review, so we want to thank them for that. And we also want to check this thing out. Is it worth the money? How much does it cost? What features does this thing have? Let's find out. Alright guys, so here it is. This is the Exlene Wireless GameCube controller for the Nintendo Switch. So we're basically going to do an unboxing of this thing, show you some of the features, and then we're going to test it out. And then we're going to do a comparison between this and some of the other options we have out there. So let's go ahead and open this thing up. Here we go. There's a wired version apparently and a wireless one. It does work with the PS3, PC, and Nintendo Switch. Here's the back of it, showing the diagram and everything. So let's go ahead and open this thing up. There we go. So it looks like when you open it. Looks like we have a USB-C cable. So the cool thing about this controller, I have tried it out already. So if I wanted to put everything back so you can see what this thing looks like when you first open it. There's a little bag. This is the controller itself. It feels like a GameCube controller. It feels right. The weight is pretty decent. It's light, but not that light. Cool thing about this controller is it has recharging capability, so you don't have to put AA's in it or anything like that, which is something I didn't really like about the Power A controller that I have right here. Here is one of the other options that you have. This is the Power A controller. It works great. It's a good controller, but it does take AA batteries. So something I'm already liking about this one is the fact that you can just recharge it with a USB-C cable. Alright, let's see what else we have in the box. Instruction manual. You may want to read this because while this is wireless, it's not a Bluetooth wireless controller. It actually uses a USB dongle, which has pros and cons. I actually kind of like it that way because it's kind of a pain in the butt to have to sync up Bluetooth all the time, in my opinion. Just don't lose the dongle. But yeah, so read this. It's going to tell you how to get this controller working. I have here a little thank you note from Exlene. Cool. And we have the USB dongle. And this is a little pin that you use to reset the controller if you ever need to reset it for any reason. There's the box. Go ahead and get that out of the way. Alright, let's look at the controller again. There's the controller. Now it's very similar to the Power A controller, which is actually based off the original GameCube controller, which is what we have here. So as you can see, they're pretty much the same size. They look to be the same size. Maybe this one has slightly longer handles on it. Maybe not. The D-pads are the same size, which I like that. The C-stick, something I like about this, the C-stick, it's pretty much your typical C-stick. It does click, but it's rounded at the bottom, or at the top I should say, kind of like an analog stick, so it doesn't feel so awkward when you're playing, you know, first-person shooters and things like that. Gives you a little bit more room for your thumb there, so when you're playing, you know, just standard games, it's not Super Smash Brothers or something like that. So like I said earlier, the controller itself feels good. It's a little light, but not too light, so it still feels like it's, you know, a good quality controller. On the bottom here you have, kind of in between there, you have your LED indicator there. That's going to tell you when you're connected, and I believe, like, you know, what controller you are, like your player 1 or player 2. You have here, you have your turbo button, so this thing actually does have the ability to program a button to do turbo, so that could be kind of cool. You have your home button. This looks like to be your select start button. You have your share button, and then all your standard GameCube controller buttons. So it actually has 4 triggers on the top, so you can pretty much use this as a standard controller for, you know, PC and PS3, whatever you want, because it does have those extra buttons, and the analog sticks click, so that's really good. Some of the features this thing has is motion, rumble, and the rechargeable battery, as well as the option to do turbo, so that's actually really cool. Comparing it to the Power A controller, this is a great controller as well. This one does have motion, it does not have rechargeable batteries, and it does not have rumble, so that's kind of a big deal. Neither one of these have NFC support, as far as I know. How does the controller feel? Well, it feels like a GameCube controller. The triggers do not have as much travel, so they have slightly less travel than a standard controller. See how much travel we have there? Kind of springy. You compare it to this one. So maybe about half the travel. It feels okay though. It just feels, you know, tight. The analog stick feels tight. None of the buttons feel too stiff. It feels like a comfortable controller. The triggers up top are clicky. They don't have much travel at all, so that's kind of weird. It takes some getting used to, but it does feel very comfortable, and I was able to play about an hour of Super Smash Bros. Using this controller, and it, you know, essentially felt like I was using a regular GameCube controller. Didn't have any issues at all. Everything was, you know, like it should be. It's pretty much all I can tell you about the feel of the controller. The D-pad feels good. It's got a nice click to it. I do like the C-Stick having a, you know, kind of more rounded top, because that allows for just better control when you're playing first-person shooters and things like that. Let's go ahead and try this thing out. We're going to try Super Smash Bros. Obviously, and we're going to try Doom, because Doom will allow us to aim using the motion controls. So let's go ahead and give it a try. Alright guys, so like I said earlier, this controller is wireless, however it's not Bluetooth. It uses a USB dongle instead of a Bluetooth connection. So I kind of prefer that, because in my opinion it's kind of annoying to have to try to, you know, sync up a controller via Bluetooth. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. At least, you know, that's my luck with them. So as long as you have this dongle here, you just plug it in and you're good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how you do that. Put the dongle into the USB port in the back of the Switch, like that. And then you're going to also want to go into the system settings and change one option, and I'll show you how to do that right now. So once you plug in the dongle into the Switch, you're going to want to use another controller that you already have plugged up, maybe the Joy-Cons, whatever you want, and basically navigate over to the system settings. And you're going to want to go to controllers and sensors and go down to where it says Pro Controller Wired Communication. That needs to be turned on. That's going to allow this controller to communicate to the Switch with the USB dongle. So make sure you turn that on and you'll be good to go. Once you have that on, like we do now, you're going to hit the home button, and boom, we are now controlling the Switch with the Exlene GameCube controller. Let's go ahead and try the motion controls and basically the FPS controls with Doom. Alright guys, so we are playing Doom on the Switch using the Exlene GameCube controller. Controls fine. I don't notice any kind of input lag or missed button presses. There's your motion controls there, up, down, left, right. Seems to work fine. Feels good. Buttons feel good. Like I said, they have a little less travel than your typical GameCube controller, but it's not really an issue if you ask me. Feels slightly different, but it doesn't feel bad, it just feels different. Boom. But yeah, I love using the motion controls in Doom. I'm so glad they added that. I'm not very good at Doom, by the way. I just enjoy it. But yeah, alright, let's try some Super Smash Bros. With Doom, it feels fine. The motion controls are great, and there is rumble, which I really like. The Power A controller does not have rumble, so it's nice to actually have rumble again. Let's try Smash. Alright guys, so we are trying Super Smash Bros. And we are using the Exlene GameCube controller. I'm going to try to play decent if I can while on camera. I love using Ganondorf. Controller feels great so far. It does have rumble, which I really like. It's something, I didn't realize how much I missed rumble. You know, I usually use the Power A controller when I'm playing Smash, and that's one thing it doesn't have is the rumble. So, like, I can feel the, you know, the power of Ganondorf's attacks. It's just a very powerful character. But the controller itself feels great. Feels just like a GameCube controller. A little less travel in the buttons, but nothing like that's gonna like mess me up or anything like that. It feels great. Boom. Oh crap. Taunt right there. Boom. Ah. Ah. Ah, dang, I was gonna try to hit him. See if we can do one of those short hops. There it is. Yeah. Ah. He's getting me this round here. There we go. Come at me, come at me. Boom. Oh! Dead. So that's the... Oh, Elaine, sorry. Wireless GameCube controller for the Switch. Let's go ahead and do final thoughts on this thing. Alright guys, so let's go ahead and talk about the features of this controller one more time, and then I'll give you my final thoughts on it, as well as like kind of comparing it to some of the other options out there. So with this controller you do get a rechargeable battery, which is great. Comes with a USB-C port right here, so you can just charge it real easy. Comes with a USB-C cable. This allows you to not only charge it, but you can also use it as a wired controller, so that's pretty cool. It does have a turbo button right here on the bottom. So if you have like any old school games or whatever, any reason you want to use a turbo is right there. It does have motion controls, which is great, and it does have rumble. That's a big one that's missing from a lot of these other Switch controllers out there, or at least with the wireless ones, is it's missing the rumble option. So this is the first controller I've come across made for the Switch that has rumble, so I really enjoy that. Only cons I have to this so far is the travel distance with the triggers here is kind of short, but it's not bad. It doesn't bother me. It's just something I noticed. Another thing I like I said before, is that C-stick is more, you know, pronounced on the top, so that's nice for first-person shooters. Allows you to get a better, you know, grip on it with your thumb. The D-pad is pretty much the exact same size as the GameCube controller D-pad. So all in all, this is a solid controller. I looked online, they're selling them for $39.99, so I think it's worth it in my opinion. With the features you get with this, with the rechargeable battery and the rumble, I think it's a great controller. It feels good, it doesn't feel cheap. But let's go ahead and compare it to some of the other options we have out there. So as you know, you have, of course, your typical GameCube controller. This is an original GameCube controller. These are great for Smash and other games like that, but you do have to get the adapter, and then of course you're dealing with the, you know, the wire, and you have to worry about people, you know, yanking your system down off the shelf or something. So these are great, but you do have to use the adapter and worry about the cable. Next up, obviously you have the Power A controller. This was my go-to controller for a while. Things I like about this one, the triggers feel great. It's, you know, it's basically a GameCube controller that's wireless. It's Bluetooth. The things I don't like is it doesn't have rumble, and it uses AA batteries, which I do not like because I've already had to change these batteries twice. So to me it feels like it's eating the batteries faster than it should be. And this one retails for $50 if I'm not mistaken. Now when you're comparing the Exlene controller to the Pro controller, which is another option out there, I wouldn't really compare these two because this is a Pro controller. It's got all the features built in. It's got NFC, motion, you know, vibrate, everything. This is an $80 controller, and most people that are playing Smash or something, they're going for the GameCube controller, so I would recommend this over the Pro controller. If this was 50 bucks or maybe 60, I would recommend it, but at $80, to me it's a way overpriced controller, and while it's a good controller, this feels better to me when playing games like Smash. And you know, due to this having L3 and R3 and all that, you are able to play pretty much any game on the Switch with this. You just do not have the NFC option for amiibos and whatnot. So all in all, I think this is a great controller. At the current price, it's $10 cheaper than the Power A controller. It's $40 cheaper than the Nintendo Switch Pro controller. And I think it's a solid choice. I like the USB-C option for, you know, the rechargeable battery. I do like the using the USB dongle as opposed to Bluetooth. To me, it's more convenient just to use the dongle. And I do like that it has rumble. That's something the Power A one, which is $10 more, does not have. So great controller in my opinion. So I want to thank the guys at Exlene for sending this over. I do enjoy this controller. I do recommend it, and I'll have a link in the description. It's an Amazon link, so you can go ahead and click on that if you're interested in buying one. I highly recommend it, and it's going to be my new go-to controller for Smash. I'm pretty impressed with it. So thank you guys for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, go ahead and subscribe for more, and hopefully we will see you on the next one. Thanks.